Hello, and welcome to Travel Tales, my weekly podcast. I'm Isabella, the virtual travel agent within the new Journey Hero travel app that will soon be available for you to download. During each episode of this podcast, we visit a particular location around the world and speak with travellers that are empowered by Journey Hero every day. Founded by the ancient Romans as a port and trading settlement in 43 AD, London, or Londinium as it was originally known, has been a place of commerce from its very beginnings. Now the finance capital of the world, London is home to nearly 9 million residents and has been called a modern-day Babel, with more than 270 nationalities speaking 300 languages. Joining me today to speak about her hometown is my good friend Meg. Thank you for joining me, Meg. How are you?
Hi Isabella, I'm great, thanks. I'm really pleased to speak with you today about my hometown because it is simply the most exciting city in the world. I love the theatre, the museums, the art galleries, the shopping, and I especially love the food.
You're right, Meg. London is an extraordinary place. Let me give our listeners a little bit of history on England's capital. As I mentioned earlier, we can thank the Romans for helping to create the city we know and love today. The city was founded at the point in which the River Thames was no longer tidal. The waters of the North Sea push ships up the Thames at high tide, and then the river allows the boats to float downstream at low tide. This makes London one of the best inland places to sight a port in the world. The Romans built a shining modern city on the northern banks of the Thames, whose traces can still be seen today. When the Saxons conquered the local Britons in the 6th century, the Germanic invaders were afraid of the ghosts of the giants that had constructed the enormous buildings. Since that brief time when the Saxons set up a market in nearby Londonwick, better known to us as Westminster, London has been alive with commerce. Although the structure of the city has changed over the centuries, there are still visible reminders of the past at every turn. By a happy turn of circumstances, London became the capital of a worldwide empire that reached its greatest extent in the early 20th century. Today, London is the capital of cool, and it is a truly amazing city to visit and live. Tell us, Meg, where do you suggest visiting whilst in the city? What are your must-see recommendations?
There is so much to see and do in London. Always a new gallery, restaurant or borough to discover and explore. I'm personally a theatre buff, and I enjoy going early into the city so I can stroll through a museum, art gallery or even go shopping before a show. London is the perfect place to do this. I highly suggest skipping more touristy choices like Madame Tussauds, for example, in favour of more authentic venues. If you want to take advantage of proximity to several cultural edifices at once, why not take the tube or a taxi to South Kensington and visit the Victoria and Albert Museum, the Natural History Museum, or even take in a concert at the nearby Royal Albert Hall. Most of the museums are free, world-class, and housed in exquisitely designed buildings. They are also centrally located, so if you have the right walking shoes, why not stroll all the way towards the chic Knightsbridge area for a visit to Harrods or Harvey Nichols? The West End is my stomping ground, and there is so much to see and do.
Sounds like the perfect day out. What great recommendations, Meg. Tell us, is there anywhere else you would suggest?
Oh, there are so many places I'd recommend seeing. I'll never have the time to name them all. And there are always ones I have yet to uncover despite the number of years I've lived here, which is part of the city's appeal, I think. When the weather is good, a visit to the quintessential Buckingham Palace, the Tower of London, and a walk through Hyde Park to see the Queen's Swans is a lovely way to take in some of the more historical aspects of London. And on a sunny summer's day, there's nothing better than walking along Embankment, casting your eyes across the River Thames at Parliament and Big Ben, while strolling past many of the city's landmark performance halls, like the South Bank Centre and the National Theatre. I love to set my sights for the Tate Modern as I walk, sampling food from the ever-growing number of street food vendors along the way, or even making a stop at the real street food market behind the South Bank Centre before I set off. After I've made my way around the gallery, I like to sit at the glass window-lined restaurant on the top floor and take in views with a crisp glass of wine in my hand.
It sounds like you should be leading tours of the city, Meg. You know just what to recommend. And speaking of leading, listen to this message from leaders in the travel industry. And now, a word from our sponsors, the Journey Hero travel app. Soon, you will be able to download the coolest new travel app available anywhere. The Journey Hero travel app puts the power of artificial intelligence on your phone to locate fantastic deals that are tailored just for you. The best part is that after you book and even pay, Journey Hero will continue to look for better deals. When it finds a better deal, it will give you the option to change. And, if you accept, it will refund the difference in fees to your credit card. No vouchers or in-store credits, just money back on your form of payment. How cool is that? Everyone wants an unexpected windfall. Now back to our podcast. You mentioned food several times already, Meg, which makes me think you're the perfect person to ask. Where are some recommendations for eating in London?
London is home to some of the world's most exceptional chefs, artisan producers and markets, with cuisine spanning the globe. For those looking for some of the city's best Indian cuisine, Chef Asma Khan's restaurant Darjeeling Express is the one for you. Not only is the food exceptional, but it is famously run by an all-female kitchen, which I love, and is actively working to tackle equality and female representation within the restaurant industry. If you're after a feast for all the senses, though, Borough Market is the one for you. It's one of the city's oldest public markets, dating back to the 12th century, and it is also home to hundreds and hundreds of artisan food producers. For those looking for an upscale experience, I'd recommend Bob Ricard. Here you can press a button for champagne, which appears almost like magic. Hakkasan in Mayfair is perfect for Chinese food, and you should also wander around Edgware Road for a variety of Middle Eastern cuisines. Any Marouche restaurant is a treat. You're incredibly spoilt for choice with London's excellent eateries.
Wow, London sounds like a global buffet right at your fingertips. It's no wonder it has become such a highly regarded food destination. Do you have any recommendations on London's legendary nightlife?
I love nothing more than to take in a play in the West End, and the theatres should be extra exuberant this year following the pandemic. I think it would be great if we could all support the return of the wonderful theatrical traditions of London. For those looking to bar hop, there are lots of cool and unique places dotted around Soho, so that would be my recommendation for a bit of a wander post-theatre trip. For a hidden gem, I'd recommend the new Bandra Bai Cocktail Den, accessible only through a hidden doorway in the high-end Indian restaurant Pally Hill in Mayfair. Also in Mayfair is one of my favourite pubs of all time and one of the oldest in the city. It's called the Punchbowl, once owned by director Guy Ritchie. It's one to visit for prime celeb spotting. When it comes to dancing the night away, Fabric is world famous for its dance floor and well-known electronic, drum and bass and grime DJs. We can all use a bit of partying in a post-pandemic paradise.
I've got my dancing shoes on and I'm ready. Let's go. Any final thoughts about the world's greatest city?
Yes, Isabella. For some months, along major roads like Shaftesbury Avenue, there have been banners reading "London is open." It is something the Mayor Sadiq Khan emphasises quite a bit. Whenever there is a discussion of refugees, or around Pride Week, for example, a true Londoner knows that London's strength is in its hospitality for all who visit or live in the city. London is a melting pot of cultures, but everyone can earn the freedom of the city. Now more than ever, London is a wonderful, wonderful place to visit, explore, and live.
Well said, Meg. Thank you. Thanks for listening to Travel Tales with me, Isabella. Before we go, show some love by leaving us a review where you found this podcast. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook at Journey Hero app for more travel inspiration of some of the destinations around the globe. You can also sign up to our newsletter from our website, www.journeyhero.net, to receive updates from me.